Sheema ji, adab, and welcome to the Mango Lounge.
Thank you once again for having me on the Mango Lounge. It's such a pleasure.
It's remarkable that 2 days from the march, you've taken out time to do this interview with us. And हम आपके of course बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं कि इतनी मसरूफियत के बावजूद आपने आज वक्त निकाला. So again, thank you so much.
नहीं, thank you, because I think it's an important interview because I want to get all that we are doing, the message across to the audience, which you have, because I think it's important to share and for them to know कि हम लोग किस situation में हैं और क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. शीमा जी, मेरे ख्याल में सबसे जरूरी सवाल तो ये बनता है कि इस मार्च का मकसद क्या है? What is the purpose of the Minority March on August the 11th?
Yeah. So maybe I should start off by saying that to remind everybody that on 11th August 1947, the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he actually said that you, in the public of Pakistan, the citizens of the new formed country of Pakistan, you are free. You are free to go to your temples, to your church, to any house of worship to pray, and your religion will not be the business of the state. So his words were these: कि आपका जो भी मजहब हो, रियासत के बिजनेस से उसका कोई सरोकार नहीं होगा. So basically, when in 1947, when Pakistan had just was the birth was taking place, this was the idea of this country, that it is not only for the Muslims of the subcontinent, but it is, of course, the Muslims were going to be in the majority, but it is for all the citizens who are living in this area, in these boundaries, in these borders. Then we see that in the Constitution of 1973, there is an Article 20, which grants every citizen the freedom to profess and practice the choice of their religion, any choice of religion. There are other articles of the Constitution also that guarantee equality to all citizens, irrespective of their faith. However, we see that after these 76 years of Pakistan, the existence of religious minorities in the country, they face a lot of persecution, there is discrimination, there's oppression, and there's marginalization in every walk of life. So the purpose of this march, and then in 2009, the government of Pakistan declared 11th August as the Minority Rights Day, the day for minority rights. Like there's International Women's Day and etc., etc. So this was the National Minority Rights Day in Pakistan. And this was declared in 2009. But since then, nothing really has happened for the minorities. In fact, what we've seen over these years is that that the status of religious minorities in Pakistan has been going lower and lower and lower. And there is huge issues and many problems that they are facing. If we start off with those who are better off, like the Parsis, they have just dwindled in numbers. Karachi was a very cosmopolitan city. You must remember when you were living here also, in your school, in my school, when I was growing up in Karachi, in my class, there was so much diversity of people of all communities, so many different languages, so many different cultures. And that was the beauty of this city, especially of Karachi. It was so diverse. There were Parsis, there were Christians, there were Gonis, there were Kathiawaris, there were Hindus of all sects,
जी बिल्कुल
Gujaratis, Marwaris, there were, but slowly it is becoming, just one. I mean, that unfortunately, the Parsis have left in large numbers. The Goanis have left, those who can have left in large numbers. Now, the Hindu community um, is very, a lot of them are very deprived. The rich people obviously left in 47 only.
जी
But there in Hindus, there's so many castes, there's the police, and there's so many different castes living in rural Pakistan. Leave. I mean, people can't just get up and leave the country, but they face a lot of persecution and the Christian community.
जी बिल्कुल शीमा जी आई थिंक ड्विंडल तो वो हो गए हैं हमारी जो पॉपुलेशन है माइनॉरिटी पॉपुलेशन has gone down from 23% in 1947 down to a mere 4 to 5%. मेरा अगला सवाल जो है वो ये है कि हमें इस मार्च की जरूरत क्यों पड़ी?
As I was saying, what the issues that we are trying to raise are the issues that these communities face. So one of the most important issue is the issue of the whole phenomena of post conversions. You have in such large numbers young girls, Hindu girls and Christian girls. So both. They are either they're lured by certain groups of Muslim community into, and these are underage girls mostly. See, I mean, the problem is that since government has said that under 18 a marriage is not valid of a girl or a boy. Now these girls are 13, 14, 15, they're all under 18. And they are, in the Hindu community, what happens is because it's in the rural areas, they are kind of picked up. Especially as any good-looking girl working in the fields, or she's picked up. And the next, what you do is you find that they bring her to court and say that somebody so and so has married her, or she has married so and she's become a Muslim. That's one. And in the Christians, they are lured by groups in which they say, oh, we'll give you a good life, you come with us, marry us, and they sort of, take them away. They do the nikah, they convert them into Islam, and then they mistreat them, they use them in different ways. And these girls and their marriages are not even valid because these are under 18 girls. Now, the issue is that there's nothing, it's very tough to fight these cases because these groups who do this, they are very well connected. They have a lot of money and they have consolidated their network with the ruling establishment in a sense.
शीमा जी, आई थिंक जो आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा, ये जो प्रॉब्लम है डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की, ये तो सोसाइटल भी है और ये इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज्ड भी है, तो हमने हर तरफ से इनको घेरा हुआ है. आई थिंक इन लोगों के सर्वाइवल की बात हम आज कर रहे हैं और मेरे ख्याल में इसी वजह से ये प्रोटेस्ट मार्च जो है, जो अवेयरनेस
मार्च हो रहा है. दूसरी चीज जो मैं कहना चाहूंगी सोफिया, वो ये है कि देखिए हाउसेस ऑफ वर्शिप लाइक चर्च हो या मंदिर हो, हर दूसरे दिन आप यू मस्ट बी हियरिंग कि अटैक हो रहा है वहां. they've been brought down, या वहां पे ब्लास्ट कर देते हैं, वहां अटैक कर देते हैं. Why should you do that? I mean, let them live peacefully.
और देखें, अगर हम ह्यूमैनिटेरियन तरीके से ही देखें या हम जैसे कहते हैं इंसानियत के
बिल्कुल
बेसिस पे अगर इसको देखें, तो ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है कि हम इन लोगों को जलील करें for their beliefs? Sheema ji, tell me what are the groups that are involved in putting together this march for August 11th this year, because this is the first large-scale march ever in the history of the country.
Yeah. So it's the first time that on this day, I mean, it's the first time that the minorities have got together to bring out this march. So there are no groups as such. It is a group of individuals. We're saying that these are conscientious citizens who just feel that the minorities need our support. They need, they feel totally insecure. I mean, and of course, as you know, that there's so many other sects and other communities living in this country, where you find that on a small enmity, somebody will say, "Oh, so and so has, you can put the blasphemy issue on them." So it's a misuse of so many laws, which can ruin people's lives.
Absolutely.
So it's not groups who are doing it; it is individuals who've got together to say that we stand with our communities, and we feel we want to safeguard and bring security into their lives, and to pressurize the state that look after your communities. They are equal citizens of this country, but they don't get equality.
Bilkul, bilkul.
And Aurat March is collaborating, and there are other people who are collaborating to make this march successful.
Bilkul. Sheema ji, what are the demands of this march? एक आपके पास कोई memorandum है या
Yes.
हमें जरा बताइए, please share with us.
So I will send you the list of demands. We've actually drawn up a list of 11 demands. So we made it symbolic. That's happening on the 11th, and 11th August is a important day in the lives of the minorities. So we've drawn up a list of 11 demands. Now, I don't think we can go through all of them right now, but the major ones are to stop forced conversions, to punish people who do this, so that we bring an end to this, to stop and to protect these houses of worship of different religious communities, and to stop the misuse of laws which work against the communities. So इस तरह से we've drawn up a list of 11 demands for the security of every citizen. And we demand that every citizen should get equal rights.
Absolutely. I think it's not only a constitutional right, it falls under human rights.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sheema ji, as American Pakistanis, what can we do to help a cause like this?
Yeah. So, I think that it is important for them to know why we are doing this march. So I would, when you have the discussion on this further, you should take this forward, that we are doing it because we want to protect our minorities. We feel it's important to preserve the diversity of the communities that live here. We feel we need to give them security, that somebody who leaves their home should not feel scared that I'm going to be targeted, I may not return home, safeguard their lives. And I think what the Pakistanis living in the US can do is also support us because financially. Because also recently, when the floods came, I'll just add this, that when the floods came, for instance, and we were working with those people who were affected, it's normally women and children who get affected most, because they're out there in the open, and where do they go to the toilet? They've lost their home. They have nothing. They have no beds, nothing to sleep on. And what happens then in those cases is that violence against the weaker people, which is the marginalized communities, increases. A girl has to find a place to use as a toilet, and there can be 4 or 5 men loitering around who can then just, attack her and target her and rape her or assault her, whatever. So this kind of thing happens a lot. And so this is another demand of ours, that in times of crisis, the communities need to be helped. Also, we heard that when there were people giving out rations or supporting these communities when they were out on the roads, when their houses had been flooded, people would say, "Oh, but if you're not Muslim, we will not give you the ration." this kind of attitude, this kind of prejudice. Then another thing I'd like to point out is in Pakistan it's become a real phenomena that the whole sewage system, all the sanitary workers in Pakistan are non-Muslims.
They're all
And
not.
yes, and they're treated so badly. And the Christians, they call it chura, and they're really looked down upon and discriminated. So their humanity is snatched away from them. Um, these are things that we must change, these attitudes to it. If you remember that this young boy some years ago was killed by his classmates because he drank from the same glass. And they said, but you're a chura, you're a Christian, you're not a Muslim. How dare you drink from our glass? These kind of things, these are horrific things that have been happening. Another couple was thrown into a burning kiln. They used to work in the where they make bricks, and because they were Christians, they were really thrown into that. Kind of things keep on happening all the time, and I think if you're living in a society where so much brutality, so much cruelty to another human being is taking place, I'm sure it affects all of us. So I feel that we need to think about things. I mean, we need to bring this to our conscience, and also another thing I'd like to add is that what we do to our communities, to our religious minorities in Pakistan, that has an effect on the Muslim minority living in India. These things definitely have an effect on each other. So, I mean, if we are not treating our communities well, then how do we expect them to treat their minority well? So it's so mutual. We have to understand that we are all humans and we have to live together. We have to survive together. We have to support each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sheema ji, thank you so much for taking the leadership and doing something which is such a big need of today's times.
No, it's one's duty, and just so the last thing I'd like to say that I feel it's the duty of those those who don't belong to the minority, for them to stand in front of the minority and say that we will protect you. Because they are so vulnerable. The marginalized are so vulnerable. They get attacked, they get targeted. So, and it's, as you realize, this is a very sensitive issue right now. When fundamentalism is so high and religiosity is so high, people are not ready to accept each other.
Sheema ji, कोई भी मजहब आपको
नफरत करना नहीं सिखाता ना, नफरत करना कोई मजहब नहीं सिखाता। ये चीज हमको प्यार मोहब्बत क्रिएट करना है।
ना क्रिश्चियन है और ना वो सिख है और ना वो जूश है और ना वो मुसलमान है। God is the name of love, and I don't think any religion preaches you to do any of the cruelties that have been going out towards our minorities, and especially Islam mein forced conversion and forced marriages are forbidden. There is no gray zone in that belief. I think it's just the misuse of power, and also I think thoda sa supremacist एटीट्यूड भी है मेजॉरिटी का क्या बहुत ज्यादा। एंड मेरे ख्याल में कि इस तरह के जो मार्चेस हैं उनकी बनस्बत कम से कम हम लोगों में वो अवेयरनेस तो ला सकते हैं, ताकि अगर नहीं इसके बारे में सोच रहे तो वो सोचना शुरू करें और अपनी आवाज उठाएं, क्योंकि हमारे पूरे एनवायरनमेंट के लिए ये फायदेमंद है अगर हमारी माइनॉरिटीज प्रॉस्पर करें। So thank you again so much, Sheema ji, for all your time on this very busy day for you, 2 days before the march. And
thank you for having me here. And I think what I would like to say is that also I feel that it should come to the internationally into international knowledge that there are people who feel strongly about these things. People living in Pakistan who feel strongly that we want to live in harmony with our religious minorities. We don't want them to feel persecuted and unsafe and insecure. Their daughters should be safe, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again so much for your time, Sheema ji.